hitting record and muting myself. The show is yours.
I have two questions I'd like you to answer. Raise your hand if you're an organ donor. Have you really thought what it means to be an organ donor? As of March 2020, over 112,000 people are on the National Transplant List. Which 20 people die each day, according to the government information of organ donation and transplant. The need for organ transplant far outweighs what is available to save lives. According to OP, Organ Procurement and Transplant Network, 90% of adults support organ donation, but only 60% are actually donors. This is where the ethical dilemma comes in. Not everyone is eligible to receive a transplant, and this is why they seek out another donor via other means, like the black market. And there are people willing to sell their organs for monetary compensation, but this is illegal in the United States. But if we made it legal and put checks and balances on it, what harm could it hurt? People that couldn't get organs that meet the criteria of UNOS, the United Network of Organ Sharing. We all know. We will explore how the current donor and transplant waiting list works, the trends of statistics of people on the transplant waiting list and lives lost while still waiting, and how legalizing selling organs could increase the amount of lives waiting on a transplant. When we think about donation, we typically think about people dying, but that's not totally true. There are living donors. One donating person can save 8 lives. According to the U.S. government information on organ donation and transplantation, deceased donations, only 3 in 1,000 are eligible for transplants. OPTN, Operation Procurement Team Network, explains that currently in the U.S., living donors are registered and undergo testing to see if they can be candidates for organ donations, such as kidney segments, liver, lobe of lung, portions of pancreas, and portions of intestine. Those on the transplant waiting list also undergo tests as they need to stay healthy to receive an organ. The United Network of Organ Sharing, UNOS, is national database for that filters and matching for the organs for the right person. And if it doesn't go to the right person, the organ rejects the person. It's not up to the person to accept the organ. With seeing how complicated the testing procedures and criteria are, it's no wonder that there are such huge waiting lists. Now I need to share my screen. So, share. According to OPTN, the numbers of people on the waiting list is much larger than compared in the number of donors and transplants. And in 1991, there were 6,953 and 15,756 transplants and 23,198 on the waiting list. This shows the dire need for more organs. For those people who need the organ transplants but do not meet the criteria for those by UNOS, they seek out different means of obtaining transplants. There are people willing to sell their organs, such as kidneys, for monetary compensation, which are then sold on the black market, which is currently legal or illegal. In Singapore, legalized payments and organ donors for reimbursement costs, but payment is that an undue inducement remains illegal, per Peter Singer of the Free Inquiry. The World Health Organization, WHO, reports that approximately 10% of all kidneys were transplanted as the 2009 were bought on the black market. According to Bengali of the Los Angeles Times, Iran is currently the only country in the world that has legalized the sale of organs. They have a government program that registers the buyers and sellers, matches them, and sets the price per organ, $4,600. Iran has been doing this since 1993 and has done over 30,000 kidneys transplants with this process. Who has the right to say what a person can do with their own organs? Physicians, hospitals, insurance companies get paid to perform organ harvesting and transplants, while donors lose an organ and it doesn't get anything in return. Boyer stated in it, Boyer mentioned, selling organs should be legalized to aid in the reducing time a person spends on the transplant list, as well as compensating the donor for their organs, just as physicians, hospitals, and insurance companies get paid. In conclusion, think about the life that could be saved with an organ donation. The people that could come off the waiting list and start moving forward in life again. About reducing the vastly large number of people waiting for a transplant. Perhaps the lives lost every day could be cut in half to 10 instead of 20. If there are more organs donors because they could be reimbursed for their organs, legalizing the sale would win the battle of life and death, even if it helps just a few more lives. A person should have the right to say what they want to do with their body and body parts. Thank you.